Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast. I'm your host, Anish Gupta.
And I'm your host, Shrikar Rajendran.
So, Shreek, let's get right into it. How was your football weekend?
I said it last week. Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy. It literally does not matter. It does not matter. Niners keep rolling. Life is good. Football life is really, 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 intact right now. So,
Okay. Yeah, let me get my rant out of the way. I woke up on Christmas Eve excited for some Christmas Eve football, and our season ended to the Saints, dude. To the Saints. Oh my, 10-0 lead, blow it, and oh my God. Dude, we passed on every second and long when we have the best running back in the league. It is so frustrating, and I still love Stefanski. I will always love him because, remember, he has a coach of the year, and Kyle Shanahan does not, which is so funny to me. But I just cannot believe the season ended like that. I'm heartbroken because things were going right. I mean, we probably weren't going to make it, but oh well. Guess what? There's a little bright spot. Certain quarterback came in versus the San Francisco 49ers.
That's not a bright spot.
Oh, it's a very bright spot.
It's not.
Carson Wentz came in when Heineke couldn't do anything and orchestrated a pretty fire 73-yard drive. And,
in garbage time, yes.
Getting the start, okay, versus us. So I'm really torn here because I'm going to have to you know what? We'll talk about that for picks, but this happens every year. I feel like I'm always rooting for Wentz versus a team I like. Okay, whatever. I did make a TikTok that Wentz would play in a playoff game this year, and if I'm right, I'm going to talk so much crap to all you people who.
And it wasn't because of him; it was because of Heineke.
However, it happened. It happened. All right. It's just gonna be so funny. Like, it's so funny to me that Carson Wentz has a chance to clinch the playoffs yet again. The same time as last year, but all right. Guess what? There's a lot of, we get a lot of chances to do things. Wentz gets a lot of chances to make the playoffs. Shrikar gets a lot of chances to see the Niners lose in the playoffs. And you guys also have a lot of chances to shave and trim the hair down there. And a good thing that you should have with you so that, each chance you get to do it, it's efficient and it's effective, is with our sponsor for today's video, Manscaped. And I deserve an applause for all my great transitions and introductions, but the team that deserves the real applause is Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0. The cutting edge technology that it features, the wireless charging, the ceramic blade, literally no nicks and cuts. You could do it on your skin and it's fine. With their advanced skin safe technology, they've got great, amazing products besides the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker nose ear hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, literally deodorant for your balls, and super comfy clothing. They've got t-shirts, they've got boxers. I think I already said that. They are home to 2 million men worldwide, and you could be part of that with 20% off and free shipping using code CHT20 at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping with code CHT20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Go grab yourself that Lawnmower 4.0. And see, Shriek, I did not mess up the slogan this time. So let's get right into it. I believe it was yesterday morning, I woke up to find that Derek Carr has been benched for Jarrett Stidham, as the Raiders still technically have a shot, and a decent one now, considering that their path to the playoffs is winning out and the Dolphins losing out. Albeit they have to win the games, but it's like, in terms of controlling their own destiny, that's as good as you'll get it, right? Too bad they're going to be using a backup quarterback that has a good rapport with his offensive coordinator because they were in New England. Devontae Adams also recently came out with a post on Instagram, like fully public, stating really some adamant stuff about how, Derek Carr is the reason he is a Raider. And, it doesn't take much to put two and two together. If Derek Carr is gone, odds are Devontae Adams is going to be a diva and want to leave. So, Shriek, I'll lead it to you. Thoughts on Derek Carr being benched? What does it mean for the Raiders this season? What does it mean for them next season? And who on this core is actually going to be intact?
So, I was mindlessly just scrolling through Twitter when this news dropped, and a lot of fans, a lot of media people went straight to blaming Carr, which, I don't agree with it, but I kind of expected it. But I actually think Carr is getting scapegoated right now. I think this is more of a McDaniels problem than a Carr problem. And if we go all the way back to McDaniels' last tenure, we talk about it all the time. The man literally drove Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall out of Denver. Like, his tenure there was horrible, right? But if we look at this year, the 20-0 lead to the Cardinals was gone. 2 17-0 leads against the Jags and Chiefs, gone. 16-3 lead over the Rams with Baker, gone. You lose to Jeff Saturday in his coaching debut. And Saturday hasn't won since. He literally got pulled out of a studio in ESPN, and it was just like, all right, we're throwing him in. And you lose. That's not on Carr. It happens so often that I think it's a coaching thing. And even if we look at Carr's entire tenure, I feel like it's rough. Like, I genuinely feel bad for Derek. I mean, I think he'll be thrilled that he's actually going to go to an organization with some stability now. But
are you sure?
I mean, for his sake, I hope. But the truth is, I don't understand why people are blaming Carr. He just led the Raiders to a 10-7 record and a playoff berth in probably the roughest conditions I've ever seen in recent memory. John Gruden resigning, obviously all the stuff that happened with Henry Ruggs. I mean, it's kind of incredible that over his 9 seasons with the Raiders, he's had the success he's had. He's played for 6 head coaches. The rosters have varied like crazy. He had to deal with the relocation, and through it all, he hasn't said anything about the organization that's been bad. Like, he's took the tough questions when really other people should have been taking him. Made 3 Pro Bowls, obviously 2 playoff berths. And it's just the same stuff again here. Defense is horrible. Coaching is horrible. Renfro and Waller have been injured. And he's pretty much had to fight through it all. And he's had to take the heat for, things that aren't really his fault. So I think this is more of a McDaniels problem. But here's the thing. I think it's kind of the writing's on the wall that Carr, he's gone, right? I listed out some landing spots in our chat, and it was like Jets, Colts, Saints, Titans. Like, there's teams that could be after him, and he'll have a good market. I think he could get back like a late first, maybe like multiple day twos. I think it's possible for Derek Carr. Yeah, I think he will, especially with the value at the QB position. But again, it's just, will Adams be gone? I don't know. I think McDaniels is going to get another year. Sadly, I don't think he's going to get fired. It's just they'll have McDaniels. They'll have a huge hole at QB. Let's get this right. You talk about controlling your own destiny. I will say it right now. The Raiders are going to get smoked in these next 2 games. They're going to lose to the Niners, and they're going to get killed by the Chiefs. All right. And now that Carr's gone, it's just kind of like McDaniels is going to have to be held accountable now, because Carr isn't there to take the blame. So, again, I just feel like Derek Carr is being scapegoated. I just had to get that off. But yeah, the Raiders' future does not look very promising at all.
Okay, a lot of stuff to unpack there. I'll first start off, I think, so with your Carr scapegoat thing. Okay. I was one of the first to say, or like, I was pretty hard on this last year. Like, I was a big fan of what Derek Carr did, right? I think I brought it up every chance we got. I was like, this dude probably had one of the 7 best seasons a quarterback could have last year. But I always said this as my caveat. Like, if you look at his tenure, right? And you also alluded to it. I wanted to, expand on that. It's just been mediocre, right? He's had the most losses a quarterback has ever had in their first 9 years. Okay. He's had 2 good years, right? 16, obviously, he got the fibula, and then 2021, he lost to the Cincy on the road. All the stuff that happened, right? I still do not know why they left Rich Bisaccia just down and outs. I thought momentum-wise it was great. I can understand maybe wanting an offensive coach, but I mean, to switch coach and GM like that quick, I don't know. I will say this about, so Derek Carr has had, I believe, 6 or 7 coaches in in 9 years, right? And I've used that to defend Baker Mayfield all the time. So he's had nothing like he's had a lot of, disstability, like not, it's sorry, unsustainability, just nothing there. Yeah, so here's my biggest like problem, or like my main caveat with Derek Carr. He's not gonna uplift your team. He's not gonna be one of the final four that are standing. He's never had the biggest arm. He's not the most accurate. Pre-snap, I've always had a problem with him. And these are just nitpicking details because obviously he'll have the stats in a lot of these games where you said it, right? Defense has been bad throughout his career, especially in the secondary. O-line's been pretty solid, but I guess running game has also been a little inconsistent. Receiver-wise, also inconsistent until Renfro and kind of Adams emerged. So there's really just not been. I mean, well, actually, okay, sorry, I'm gonna cut myself off there because I know Raiders fans will get mad. Amari Cooper was there, so let me take that off. But yeah, just I mean, there's a lot of things, right, that you can really nitpick about Derek Carr's tenure with LV. And my problem is, even if he goes to a more stable franchise, he's not going to win you multiple playoff games. And I think that's the harsh reality that Derek Carr fans or Raider fans have to, seep in. This is a core that is not going to win big. And I think there are only a handful of quarterbacks that can win you a Super Bowl. And a lot of guys have proven me wrong, right? Like Carson Wentz, I thought he was on the top of the world in 19, and he's, I guess fallen off. But I think I've never really gotten to a point where I've thought, okay, Derek Carr is truly that guy. There are quarterbacks I've said that about, and there are quarterbacks that I'm very firm on, and he's one of them, unfortunately. Great person, great leader. He just can't uplift a team. And I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, I'll ask you this, because we look at last year, wouldn't you say that's pretty much uplifting a team?
Sure, but so here's the thing, right? I think there's a difference between kind of like maybe winning regular season games and I think winning in the postseason, because when I think football especially, there's a really big difference in regular season and postseason. So you're really going against heavyweights. Game slows down, and I think that's where Carr maybe tends to struggle. You're just not getting the better quarterback in the matchup.
He took Cincy to the brink in that game. I mean,
but he threw a pick to end it. Like, see, there's so many games where the ball comes down to his hands, and he'll throw a pick, or he won't get it done. Like that. There's so many instances I can name. I could name you like 4 this year where Derek Carr has had a chance to win the game, and he's either thrown an interception or he does not get the drive done, right? So, like, there's just so many instances of that. And that's why I am not confident in putting the ball in Derek Carr's hands when I need a game-winning drive. And that's like that. I think I've got enough evidence to say that. So that is why I just don't think he's a playoff winner. I don't see it. So maybe, maybe he can prove me wrong with a different team. But nah, okay. Let me finish it with this, because I think I'm kind of rambling. I don't think Derek Carr can't, be a franchise quarterback or a starter again. That is not what I'm saying. But what I will say is he's on a really big contract. It's only his first year of it, by the way. I think he's a 3 or 4 year deal with over 30 mil. So that's why Shriek also wanted to refute. I don't know if he's getting a first because of that contract. So like I think a second is due, right? But the money talks, right? So that's a big hit that you're gonna take.
If I had to compare it to a trade I think he's gonna get back what Wentz got.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more, but yeah, I'm with you. That's what I was thinking. So yeah, that's nowhere near what LV would want. But look, if Devontae wants out, right? There's just gonna be so much of this, like, what could have been, and also like. It's just not worth keeping him at that point, right? If he's just going to keep causing problems, is he really going to want to play on this team? Like I've been on record in saying this, that players that are on mediocre teams honestly are not trying. Von Miller is a perfect example. When Denver was like 7-9 countless years, right? He wasn't producing like the great numbers he had early in his career. The second he goes to Buffalo, second he goes to LA, he's the sack leader in the playoffs. Like, Devontae is not going to be playing like for much in LV if Derek Carr leaves, and I think that is a problem. Same with Josh Jacobs, whose 5th year is not picked up. So You mean to tell me another team's not going to pay him 9 to 10 mil? I think someone will eventually give it up. So, or sorry, not 9 to 10, like maybe 12 to 15. I think someone eventually gives it up.
I think as of right now, I'll say yes, Derek does get traded. I don't think Adams is getting traded. Because even then, Vegas will have to eat a ton of money.
No, I'm with you, and I think that's going to cause problems.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think LV's in a panic mode.
Yeah.
Speaking of panic mode, let's move on to Miami, who was 8-3. Was talking a lot of smack up here, and I'll eat it. I will 100% take the fall on this one. I was wrong. Miami is not better than Buffalo. At their best, they've looked like it, but I'm just not getting their best enough. So I'm going to eat that one. I was wrong. And they have now lost, I believe, 4 straight. And I saw the graphic. I think you did too, right? Mm-hmm. Miami was 1-7 last year. They ended up getting to 8-7 with a 7-game winning streak. Miami was 8-3. They ended up getting to 8-7 the same way, the same record in different ways. Shriek, I'll toss it to you. I actually am forgetting their final 2 games. I think one of them is against New England.
And then they play the Jets at home.
Right. So yeah, 2 divisional games here, which are winnable. They might squeak in. Let's first talk about the Dolphins as a whole, because I want to make Tua a separate segment. So yeah, do you think Miami 1 gets in, and 2, what happens if Miami does not?
So yeah, they're 8-7. Basically, you're controlling your destiny, but you really don't have much margin for error. This Sunday, obviously, trip to New England. After that, you host the Jets. If Miami wins out or beats the Pats, with New York losing to the Seahawks this Sunday, the Dolphins are going to clinch. However, if you lose in New England, the Patriots would move ahead of Miami, and they play Buffalo in Week 18. So the Dolphins would still have a chance, but they would need help. So do I think they'll get in? As of right now, I will say I don't know, because honestly, I feel like Tua should be shut down for the season. It's bigger than football. So if it's Bridgewater the next 2 games, I'm leaning yes. I think
not making it?
They will make it.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm leaning that way. It kind of fluctuates because Miami's really, they're kind of weird. But I think honestly the bigger concern is Tua, if you wanted to start on that. But I think as of right now, I'll lean yes.
So I forget that the other teams. I believe the Pats are in the running. The Steelers are in the running.
Yep.
And the Raiders are in the running. Let me know if I forgot anybody.
Raiders are far out of it. But
yeah. So I think those are the 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they've got a pretty decent lead on those guys. I'm actually really torn. I'm gonna say yes. Just because I think even if they don't beat New England, I think they beat New York. And what do you call it? I think the Bills will beat the Pats because they're fighting for the 1 seed. So I think it works out in their favor, right? So I'll say yes with you. So yeah, let's get to Tua. Obviously the report's out about the concussions, and I saw a handful of NFL players really adamant about him not playing. My younger brother actually got 2 concussions in the span of a year. And actually one more, he's playing football right now, one more, and he actually would not be cleared to play at all. So I kind of know a little bit about this, and I will say this. I agree with them. It's a really dangerous game in that sense, right? You're playing with something that's more than just your money and your financial stability. You're playing with your health. And one thing I was always taught is, look, money can buy anything you want, except a lot of the times it cannot buy you health. And health is one thing you need, right? If you want to actually use that money that you get. So I'm with a lot of these guys, right? It's just not worth it. He's really young, right? I believe he's married as well, right? And you've got years on you. I think you've shown enough this year to warrant a contract extension somewhere, if not in Miami, right? I think the first 8 games were enough to do that. I do not think it's worth, maybe putting not only your, maybe your body on the line, but just your mind. Like that. This is everything, right? This is irreplaceable. A leg, an arm, right? There's enough to fix that, but this right here, very hard to really, tap into once it's been damaged. So I'm with a lot of people on that, especially the one he took this year, right? I mean, you could just see it visually. It was really hard, right? I believe it took him 3 weeks to come back from that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a major one then. So because I remember my brother also had a major one. It took him almost 6 months to fully get back into playing the sports that he used to play, and especially tackle football. And he's too as a professional athlete, so I get the time is maybe less, but the hits he's taking are a lot harder than the ones my brother is. So I'm with the people on this one. Shriek, you with them too?
As in, like,
Like
should they?
shut him down.
Yeah. I'm with. Yeah. You got to shut them down. It's bigger than football
So
again.
I just don't know if like I just don't get like I'm confused on maybe shutting him down for the season because
Well, it's 2 games.
yeah. So I mean, but if they make the postseason, right? Like
I still wouldn't play him.
yeah. So I'm a little bit torn on that. I'm with them shutting him down for the regular season. I think if he's fully cleared, and I think maybe a playoff game could be here and there, but I'm very firm on the two games, because weeks is a week is a big deal, right? So like for example, if they let's say they have a playoff game against I don't know the Chiefs or something 3 weeks down the road, right? That's a whole week that even if he does not practice, it's still a week of healing, right? So maybe the playoff game I might disagree, but the regular season I'm pretty firm on. So also I'll throw this at you, right? So if the concussion problems are a concern, do you give him the extension?
It's pretty tough, and I'll talk about the playoff game briefly here. I think it depends on how Teddy does in his stead. If it depends how they clinch if they do. If they win out, I would start Teddy in the playoff game.
Oh yeah.
But it depends how they get there.
Yeah.
But with that question, yeah, I think I'd still give him the extension. It's because it's tough. It's tough to knock the first half of the season. I mean, he was red hot, right? For a guy that was in the top three and possibly top two in the MVP discussion, at one point in the season, I think it's worth it to at least give him the extension. I could see a prove it deal, but I don't know if Tua's camp is going to be willing to, budge with that. But if he wants to bet on himself, I think that would be a pretty good move, honestly, because you can get even more. But I think he does warrant an extension of some sort. I don't think the Dolphins can let him walk.
I'm gonna finish with one point here. Especially with the game, right? I can understand where the concussion whole protocol thing is coming from, because you could look at a stat line and say, okay, yeah, it was night and day, right, against the Packers. I think he's like, yeah, he threw like 3 picks that were just so questionable.
3 straight drives too.
And so here's where I understand it though. So especially as a quarterback, right? It's such a mind-driven position, right? All of these things, people don't realize how much preparation, how much time, how many nuances go into being a quarterback on the play, during it, going through the reads, looking at different coverages. Who's the Mike linebacker? Who's this? Who's that? Where are they coming down? Are they going back up? What coverage is this? Like, there's so many things, and people do not understand that, and that's why I always overappreciate quarterbacks. When the head starts to get messed up, concussions is the worst for a QB because you lose track of what you are learning, and that is a big problem. I actually just recently learned about this. Carson Wentz in the playoff game that he got hit by Jadeveon Clowney in, the concussion was bad, so bad that he forgot who Philly played against the week before, okay? And he literally could not hold a single conversation past like 5 minutes with somebody. That's scary, right? As your leader of your team cannot do that. Like, your team cannot function if that's the case. So if that ever happens again, you're scared if these things start to happen more and more. So that's what I would be worried about. And I think you're right. Prove it deal might be the best odds. I think, again, I've said this, the 8 games warrant it, but Tua's camp will not be happy with that. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes moving forward. Let's move on from that. Obviously, we hope Tua does not suffer anything like that again. Let's move on to I think probably one of the biggest games of the year, Dallas Philly. It was no joke of a shootout. It was a 40 to 37 game, I believe.
40 to 34.
Sorry, 40 to 34. The Cowboys barely outlasted them. I cannot believe Dak actually did it. It was against Gardner Minshew, so whatever. But yeah, I guess the Eagles defense did fold. You allow 40 points. That's a lot of points. And I know it was Gardner Minshew, but he looked pretty good, and I think that just goes to show how good Nick Sirianni's system is. Coach of the year in my book. But Shriek, what do you think about this matchup? And do you think it was more good Dallas, or do you think Philly will just look better with Jalen Hurts? Like, where do you stand on the matchup?
I actually think this was more good Dallas because the Eagles are healthy defensively outside of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, but they allowed over 400 total yards, nearly 350 passing from Dak Prescott. Look, in this season, the Eagles have proven they are a legit Super Bowl favorite at 13-2. They have the best point differential in the NFC at plus 137. 8 Pro Bowlers. Jalen Hurts is MVP candidate. I could go on and on. However, I will say this. They have also faced a really bad slate of quarterbacks. The only top end talents that they faced are Prescott and Trevor Lawrence. And Lawrence saw Philly in pretty much a monsoon. So Prescott's performance raises the question, will the Eagles defense be exposed by a top end quarterback in the playoffs? But lucky for Philly, there really isn't many
Exactly. Who are they going?
outside
Yeah.
of Prescott. Tom Brady, I think, would qualify, but
What about A-Rod? They played A-Rod.
yeah, A-Rod too, potentially, but his offense and surrounding coaching staff will do Brady in. It's just the AFC, if you face someone in February, I mean, you'll be facing a superstar. So is it going to be a problem for Philadelphia? I mean, we might find out. I just thought it was interesting to point out, but I'm still a believer in the Eagles, right? We've talked about it all year. We have multiple ways to win, all that. Gardner Minshew, it's not on him. The loss is definitely not on him. I think it's way more on the defense. Did want to touch on Dak a little bit because Anish put in the group chat, he said Dak and a bunch of laughing emojis after that Josh Sweat pick 6. And he was tremendous after that. I mean, that 3rd and 30 to T.Y. Hilton was crazy.
I'm such a jinxer. No, that was all T.Y. No, I'm kidding.
Prescott is still a top 10 quarterback in my books, but
all right, let me refute that. Okay. All right, I'll admit it. Dak finally did something valuable in the fourth quarter.
Finally.
Good job. Good for him. This still does not really change anything for me. I would still not put him in my top 10. And one thing I will say is just hats off to Minshew for playing that. Yeah, you're right. The Eagles offense really did not miss a beat. I think they would have ran the ball more, so I think they would have controlled time of possession a little bit more. So I think that could have maybe made a difference in the ball game, but that's neither here nor there. I think for Dallas, right, you're right, that 3rd and 30 was really good. I think this was a big kind of morale boost saying, okay, kind of took them down a notch a little bit. They're still going to end up playing the winner of the NFC South in the wild card game. So nothing's going to change there. I think for the Cowboys, it's just not beating themselves. That's it. And the defense also, Shriek, you got to mention the Cowboys defense, who was on a top 2 pace, right? They were on a steady pace with the Niners. I think the last few weeks, the Niners have just gone like this, and the Cowboys have gone down, right? You've given up 40 points to Trevor Lawrence, 34 to the Eagles with a backup quarterback, right? Like, these are some questionable things, like 30 points to the Bears, right? Like, a lot of iffy games. 27 to the Texans, 24 to the Texans. Like, that's not a championship caliber defense that I thought I was seeing the first 5-6 games of the season. So little concern there. I will stand by this though. I think Dallas is still a notch below, and I think Philly is still a notch above. But I think you made a really good point about how Philly's defense has not really played the upper echelon of QBs that we've known and grown accustomed to. Trevor Lawrence was in a monsoon, as you said. It was also early in the year, right? Not really when he's kind of caught fire. Aaron Rodgers, they gave up 33 points to, right? So that's one. I guess you could include. Fine, you could include Prescott, and you gave up 40 to him. Kirk Cousins is the only one notable that I can think of that qualifies as top 12 or above, and I guess you look good against him. And also a lot of their big matchups have been at home, right? You just really haven't seen them being battle tested on the road. That's one thing they may not have to face, considering they'll have home field. So a lot of these questions that we're concerned about, they won't really have to be answered, right? And I think that's what's going for Philly right now. And I think that's what's going to keep them, staying atop this NFC favorite, echelon as we're kind of going into it. Though I do think SF is right up there, and I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's kind of move on. Staying in the NFC, right? We talk about it pretty much every week, but it's just it's a really good race. Like the last wild card spot, I think New York is going to get it. Please beat Indianapolis, Daniel, please, because then I'm going to have to deal with everyone else laughing at me for Daniel Jones not doing it. And I'm still a Jones believer, remember. He's going to make the playoffs with Isaiah Hodgins as his best receiver, guys.
He had a good game.
I cannot wait. Yeah, so let's please give him his flowers. You know what? I might just stop and just talk about him. He has done nothing short of be great for a Giants team that has nothing on offense. So I'm really hoping they beat the Colts. So let's say they do, right? It's the last spot. It's between Washington, Seattle, Green Bay, and I think that's it, right? Yeah. So Detroit's probably out of it now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I could still do it, but
yeah, I guess we were wrong on that, but I think Detroit is out of it. So I think the Packers have to play Detroit and Minnesota. Those are two iffy games, okay? And Washington, who has the new quarterback at the helm, by the way, has to play Cleveland and Dallas. And Seattle has to play the Jets and who else?
The Jets and the Rams.
I'm guessing, yeah. Okay. So, Shriek, I'm going to throw it at you. Who gets that last spot?
All right, 5-seed Cowboys, 6-seed Giants. As soon as the Wentz news broke that he was coming back as the starter, I said everything is breaking right for the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers are the 7th seed. I think Washington, I will say this right now, I think Washington made a mistake going back to Wentz, and I think they should have kept Taylor Heineke at quarterback. Now, if Wentz does do this, I will eat crow, which I've done many times before on this podcast. But I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. And right here, I think Carson Wentz, I think Washington made a mistake going back to Carson Wentz. I think they should have kept Taylor Heineke at quarterback, and I think it's going to cost them, and I think Green Bay's getting the 7th seed.
All right, I'm going to throw this at you. I think this is going to be a big point in this race. Does Minnesota care enough to keep the 2 seed?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means they're going to play for it in Week 18.
Because Minnesota's home field advantage is...
No, but do you want to play Green Bay in the playoffs? Or would you rather play the Giants?
Yeah, you'd want to play the Giants. You don't want to face Rodgers, but...
But
I don't think
right?
I think
it was a close. Well, okay, I'll throw this too. They played Giants close, right? And it's going to be at home. So the Giants, there's no weather. Weather's not going to be a factor here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess its question is: are you giving Rodgers a clean air weather, clean weather game? Or are you giving Daniel Jones a clear weather game? So
hey, I wouldn't mind if the Vikings wanted to give the 2 seed to the Niners. I mean, by all means, go ahead. But
so I think it comes down to. I think I think I said this earlier too. The Commanders have to beat the Browns. They have to. If they don't, I think it's over. So does that happen?
Well, to spoil the pick, I'm gonna say yeah. I think it does.
I think so too, and I think if that happens, then I think they go on to win it because I think Dallas should rest starters, being the 5 seed. So I think that's probably where I'd lean. Yeah. So I think the Commanders, if they beat the Browns, will take it. If they don't, I think the Packers will. I think that's what it comes down to.
That's fair.
So, how ironic. It's going to come down to the Cleveland Browns to decide 2 NFC teams' playoff fates, and we can't even control ours. That is so stupid. Whatever. All right. Well, we can move on to our favorite segment of the week. Weekly picks. Shriek, give us the rundown. Let's get into it because it's coming down to the wire, and it's
heating up.
2 more weeks. So let's run it. Let's run it.
All right. Anish won the week at 11-5. He takes a 2-game lead on me and Jack and a 3-game lead on fans. Me and Jack are tied at 151. You're at 153. Fans are at 150. After a 7-9 week, Fans,
Good job, guys. Step it up, man. Step it up.
what are we doing, guys? Come on now. All right.
What happened? Step up, bro.
Fans are going to have the biggest bounce back. It's all good. All right. By the way, by the time you're seeing this, the polls are probably up, so go ahead and vote. All right, let's get into Thursday Night Football. Dallas and Tennessee. Josh Dobbs is starting for the Titans. Yeah, so the Titans have no quarterback, no motivation. This could be a blowout for the Cowboys, so I will take Dallas very easily here.
Hey, don't sleep on my preseason boy, Josh Dobbs, who outplayed Deshaun Watson in our preseason. So, no. First of all, I'm just going to laugh, do my little laugh. Malik Willis got benched for a career third string. That is so funny. All right. They've got no Derek Henry either, and they still can play for the division. But if they lose, I don't think they're out. I think if they beat the Jags they would still. If
they win next week, they're in. Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
if the Titans if the Titans lose this game and beat the Jaguars next week, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. So see, they're still playing for something. So yeah, they'll lose, but it sucks. Like, yeah, the Jags have to win out, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. I think if they tie, even if they tie, yeah. Oh well. All right. Yeah, Dallas.
All right. Falcons and Cardinals. This is in Atlanta. Oh God, this is gonna be a horrible game. I think you're up for this one.
Dude, I hate both teams. I don't even remember who Atlanta played last week. Who did they even play?
Was it the Bears?
Oh no, Baltimore, and they got
Baltimore. Yeah,
I needed them to win. This is tough. Okay, both teams have looked bad. This is such an irrelevant matchup. Why are we even? Okay. It's at Atlanta, so just give me Atlanta. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing. I know I talked about Malik Willis, but Desmond Ridder is not doing anything to make Atlanta think that they don't need a quarterback in next year's draft. So
he's not been bad though. He's not been bad.
He hasn't been good. He's not. He hasn't shown anything to me that he's going to be the guy. But small sample size, but he doesn't look very good.
Oh, Aaron played Tampa. Oh, Tampa. Oh, okay.
They took Tampa to OT with McSorley, yeah.
Actually, I'm going to switch my pick to Arizona because I think Cliff's going to be fighting for any ounce of job that he has left. So.
Okay, I will roll with Atlanta, so we'll have some difference there. But yeah, if you're considering watching this game, just know you've hit rock bottom, and that's it. All right, Panthers and Bucks. Here is a big one in Tampa.
Okay.
This is somehow for the NFC South title, so if the Bucks win, they're in. If Carolina wins, then you got a Week 18 showdown with the Saints to earn a playoff berth there. I'm going to roll with the Bucks. I think they're going to win this game and win the NFC South. As much as I want to see Carolina in, this is one of those spots where, albeit with the year Brady's had, I'm not going to bet against Brady, especially when he's playing Sam Darnold. So, Tampa, that's the pick right here.
I am so leaning Carolina right now, and I don't know what. Their run game killed the Lions. You don't understand. They had over 200 rushing yards in the first half.
Foreman went crazy.
If they do that against Tampa, they will win. Dude, but Tampa just finds a way. Okay, I'm going to caveat this. I believe Ryan Jensen got activated. If he plays, give me Tampa. If he doesn't, give me Carolina. I will put Tampa for now. But I'm very scared. I really think Carolina has a chance here. And they did really good against... Dude, Carolina's got to be thinking to themselves, if they win this game, Brady could be out. And not only that, they've got a decent core. I'm not even kidding. Some of their players, okay, Foreman is good, right? Their O-line has been looking really solid. Darnold, I cannot believe I'm saying this, has not looked like a total Nimrod. And their defense has always been young and good. Okay. I really hope Carolina wins. And
if Darnold wins this game, Jack is going to go crazy.
I'm blocking him. I'm blocking him. But if it's a lose-lose for me. Because I'm such a huge Brady fan. Whatever. Okay. Let's just roll with Tampa.
Okay. Bears Lions. Obviously we
Beats
talked
me.
about Detroit a little earlier and their chances of the playoffs. Yes, you are starting for this game in Detroit.
Yeah, they gotta keep it right. And I think the Bears are also looking like, hey, we could potentially get Will Anderson, or maybe even the first overall pick. So I think Detroit goes here
Yeah. So
at
Detroit
at home.
Detroit needs to win out and get some help. And obviously it starts with beating the Bears. This is their last home game of the year. Here's the thing though, Chicago always fights. So I mean I think they're gonna keep this close, but the Lions are the better team. So I will roll with Detroit. Um, all right, let's get to Cleveland and Washington. I will be starting with this one. Carson Wentz is back as the starter, which is nothing but terrific news for the Browns. Washington was a mess with Wentz. I'll say it again. And still, I'm going to pick the Commanders because this is Cleveland. And they lose these. They don't win these. And Deshaun Watson has been awful. Give me the Commanders.
I want to point this out, and I have the graphic, and I have the TikTok, and I have the post for it, and the video. About 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 2 years and 2 months ago, we had a really interesting debate about Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz. Do you remember that streak? We
I
had
actually
a
think I
really
do.
fun.
This was early CHT days.
My God. And look how times have changed. These were two top five quarterbacks, potentially top five quarterbacks, who we would go on and on about. And look at where they're at now. I'm sorry, that's just mind-boggling to me. How much can change in 2 years? Wentz is now no longer on the Eagles. He's been on two different teams. Deshaun Watson has been through hell on earth and hell and back with all this stuff. No pity. I'm just saying, like, just been through different things. And now they somehow find themselves playing each other in the weirdest way possible. All right, so I'm going to take Washington, and it's a win-win for me because either way, if Washington wins, Wentz is going to play a playoff game. Oh, man, dude, I've been waiting for this for so long, and if it happens, I'm going to be so happy. Hopefully, and there's no Wait. Wentz is going to be playing Jadeveon Clowney to play for the playoffs, and he's the last dude who hit. You can't make this stuff up. Whatever. I'm taking Wentz. I don't care. This is his get back. And the Browns will get a better draft pick in the second round because we don't have a first round pick. So, and if Cleveland wins, I get to get some sort of happy highlights that I can look forward to for next year. So, yeah.
All right, so both going Washington. Broncos at Chiefs. Yay! You get to start here.
Oh, I'm so excited. No, I'm so excited for this. Okay, well, you can talk about the whole report thing that the Broncos had a good practice. I'm just going to talk about this. James Draws, who, for those of you who do not know, I'm sure a lot of you do know who that is. He's going to be at this game, and I think it's going to be so funny. I really hope he gets some sort of TV time because I think that would just be so funny. But yeah, the Chiefs are going to kill Denver because I really want them to get the 1 seed. And yeah, so let's go with the Chiefs.
This feels like a game where Denver barely tries because the fight has been completely taken out of them.
What you practice, bruh? They're having a good practice.
Yeah, because they needed to step up. Great, you're 4-11, and that's what. Okay, that's the most Russell Wilson Broncos thing I've ever heard. All right, the Chiefs are trying for the top seed in the AFC. Let's not overthink this. Going with Kansas City.
I just want to say one thing. For all the younger NFL fans out there who have not really watched Russell Wilson, just watch his 2012 games, watch his 2013. Like he was just so magical. Like it sucks. He's the one I learned my throwing form off of. So it just really sucks that he's gotten to this point. I just wanted to say that. Yeah, I learned from him how to throw football, so I'll always kind of love him for that.
All right, Colts Giants in New York. I think it's me starting here. Yeah. The Giants clinch a playoff spot right here. I think it's going to happen. The Colts are not beating anybody, let alone a postseason contender with Nick Foles. Obviously, we saw how that went last week. He looked downright awful and very washed. So give me the Giants.
Yeah, I barely watched the Colts Chargers game. I didn't even think it was relevant. Daniel Jones, please. I cannot wait because I'm going to be talking so much when they clinch The amount of people that have written this man off since he was drafted, since he was picked 6th overall from Duke University, he has been ridiculed, he has been made fun of, he has been criticized in every way possible, and still he plays for this team with an inconsistent O-line, an inconsistent defense, the worst receiving core in the NFL by far, and he is going to take his team to the playoffs. Kudos to you, Daniel Jones. I will always defend you, and please win this game so I can just be happy.
Okay. Jaguars Texans in Houston. Houston beat the Jaguars earlier this year. So you got?
I think this is going to be a dogfight. I'm not kidding. If whoever's playing these odds out there, I'm low-key thinking of the under. The Jags have just so much momentum right now. Like, I think it's just in their head that they need to get this for the playoffs. Obviously, they can afford to actually lose it if Tennessee loses to Dallas. But I think regardless, you just want to win this game, get some morale. So go with Jacksonville.
I am not expecting a repeat of that first meeting between these two teams this season. Jacksonville is playing their best ball at the right time. So I'm going to lean with the Jaguars here. Dolphins, Patriots.
Remember those turnovers Trevor Lawrence had against Houston?
Yeah.
Oh, how the tables have turned. Because I was getting that film sent to me by everybody.
Speaking of the tables turning, Dolphins and the Patriots. We talked about the Dolphins earlier and how they're pretty much in free fall at this point. The Pats can't score, but I don't know. This feels like a game. It's in Gillette. This is definitely a game where New England's going to get like a pick six from like Marcus Jones or something, and it's going to put him over the top. So give me the Pats here. Belichick doesn't lose these.
I'm with you. Give me the Pats. Like, I just don't see Belichick losing to Teddy Bridgewater, who hasn't played in 7 weeks, and they were also 0-3 without Tua. So the offense just does not work with him. Like, Teddy is slow. He doesn't have the same release that Tua does, right? Because Miami goes on quick passes that in open space.
Mm-hmm. Work. All right, final game of the early slate. It's the Saints and the Eagles. I don't know what Hurts' status is for this game, but I think it's going to be Minshew again. Who you got?
Give me Philly. Like, Saints, I hate you. Like, why? Why'd you have to ruin it? Give me Philly.
Yeah, the Eagles aren't going to mess around in this one. They will clinch home field advantage.
Wait, sorry. I keep saying these quick notes. Jalen Hurts' first career start and his first career win was against Saints. The 10-2 Saints at the time, who were the first seed.
Mm-hmm. It all comes full circle because Eagles are going to get home field advantage. They can pretty much rest starters next week. They'll get a dub here. Moving on to the late window, the Jets and the Seahawks. Probably the best game before prime time. It's basically a playoff game. It kind of feels like that in Week 17. This is it for the Jets and the Seahawks. You lose and it's over. You win and there's real hope. So it's tough because New York is traveling across the whole country to Seattle. But Seattle has just not looked good. Give me New York. It's going to be Mike White. Give me the Jets. I don't feel confident picking either of these teams.
All right. I'm going. Give me Seattle.
Okay.
The 12th man's going to be rocking for this game. And I think Tyler Lockett's coming back. So give me Seattle.
All right. Niners, Raiders. I said it earlier. There's literally not a single reason to pick the Raiders here. I think it's you, actually. But I think I know where you're going with this.
So Debo's back at practice. I'm going to be picking the Raiders to lose. Yeah, SF is on an 8-game winning streak. So here's the thing, though. I will say this, you are a Niner fan, and I've got some ties with the Niners of my own. But look, I would actually think it's a little bit dangerous going in with a really big win streak into the playoffs. I think with that type of, you just haven't felt, a push or a motivation to, kind of get back in a week, right? I think that's a little scary. It's kind of the syndrome that we've seen with a lot of 1 seeds, a lot of teams that just kind of ride high and then they just face it really quick, and it's a harsh reality. So I would just say to SF, be a little careful.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
mean
it
last year was the Titans loss that kind of got us straight for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but San Francisco again,
Yeah,
riding
they're
an
not
8-game
losing
winning
this one
streak.
though. This is
Yeah,
one.
they have won 6 of the last 8 by double digits. Josh McDaniels is involved again. So yeah, give me SF. I do agree with you. I think it'd be good to lose one at some point, but I don't want it to
You're
be.
not going to lose to Arizona next or the final week,
Yeah,
so
it's a little tough. So
Yeah.
taking the Niners, we'll see how that plays out. The Battle of Los Angeles, the Rams and the Chargers. The Chargers are finally moving past the phase of their history where they lose every way possible. I think they're going to handle the Rams in this game. Give me the Chargers.
Oh wait, I'm so dumb. I was about to say, is this at LA?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's at LA. Dude, I don't know. The Rams looked really. I'm so excited, dude, because I think Baker Mayfield has a real chance to play for them next year. He looked really good on Christmas Day. Dude, I might roll with the upset. I'm not even kidding. Herbert does not look that good. Dude, he hasn't really looked good.
He was limited. He was limited.
The Chargers have clinched, right? Like, dude, give me the Rams. Give me the Rams.
Okay. So going with the Rams. Minnesota, Green Bay. This is a big one. In Lambeau, who do you got?
Dude, it seems like Minnesota's playing everybody close. And I really hope they lose this game because it's a big punch in their mouth. And I think it's one that they need. So for their sake, actually, I'm actually going to go with Green Bay. Just because I think they need this punch in their mouth.
If there's ever a time where you feel like a team with 5 less wins is almost like a sure thing, this is it. Like, it's a pretty rare occurrence, but I mean, I'm also going with Green Bay here. Steelers Ravens in prime time.
I just want to say, isn't it funny how we both picked Minnesota week 1? Now we're picking Green Bay here.
Green Bay, yep.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty. And neither are favored. Like, it's ironic, but yeah, let's move on.
Let's all embrace what's about to happen with this game on Sunday Night Football. They flexed this game into prime time, by the way. There's going to be a lot of punts. And I think we just have to accept that. Give me Baltimore.
Wait, is Lamar playing?
He just missed practice again, so probably not.
If he does not,
I'm working off the assumption it's going to be Huntley.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. And I say this because let's just talk about a certain quarterback on the final drive of a very heartfelt and sentimental game. You know, you're down. You missed 2 field goals because Matthew Wright is just incapable of doing anything right, despite having that last name. And he goes 7 of 9 for 75 yards and the game-winning touchdown. Perfect passer rating on that drive. I think we've got something here.
I will say Pickett has played better than his initial first few games, but he is not making elite throws to me. And I'd like to see more from an older first-round pick. I would like to see a little bit more. That's all I'll say on Kenny Pickett.
I think we've got something. And for that reason, I think I'm going to actually... Is it Wade? Oh, wait.
It's in Baltimore.
Oh, crap. Oh, that's big. Oh, I should have known that. Actually, wait. I was just hyping up all this Pickett stuff. Now I'm going to take Baltimore. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Baltimore.
Okay, game of the year, possibly. The Bills and the Bengals. Buffalo and Cincinnati are 2 of the top 5 teams in the league. What you got?
Watch this. If the Bengals were to win, right, not only would they give Chiefs the 1st seed, they would become the 2nd, and Buffalo would go down to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that happens. I am going... For those who do not follow us on Instagram, please do. I made a post, so I guess this is where we can talk about it. I think Joe Burrow is the 2nd best quarterback in the league. And And I think a lot of people were not on that train when I said first Burrow was better than Herbert. I think a lot of people were very against that. I don't know if you were included. I know Jack was. But I was very adamant about it. I think earlier you were, but I think maybe you came around when he made the Super Bowl. So, but I'm very confident in saying that. I think Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in the football. Patrick Mahomes is the only guy I would take over him. And for that reason, I'm going with the Bengals to win this game. And I think now the Chiefs will get the 1 seed, the Bengals will get the 2, and the Bills will get the 3.
Don't forget when Anish said this team would have a Super Bowl hangover. How many wins did you have them having?
I think
eight wins?
9. No, I had him at 9, and I had him missing a tiebreaker I think 10 or 9. I think 10 and missing a tiebreaker to Baltimore. But this is
I tried telling people this team would beat the hangover. I mean, this team is good. Like, they're genuinely good. But give me the Bengals in a shootout at home. Man, this is gonna be a good game though. I can't wait. It's in Cincy too, so
yeah. No, give me Cincy.
Yeah.
You're going with Cincy also?
Yeah.
Ooh, so now guess what? They had a 6-game stretch that I kept talking about, and they would be now 5-0 in that stretch with the final.
Mm-hmm.
That is one impressive resume, fellas. That is one. That's one to tip your cap to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we got some difference here. I might take back. What was the one that I differed on? I think
So you took Seattle, you took Arizona,
yeah.
And you took the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams is the one I might go back on, but other than that, we're good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Another great episode. Excited for some football. Obviously, my team may be out of the playoffs, but I got some players that I'm riding for, mainly Trevor Lawrence and Carson Wentz, for those of you who are wondering. Thank you guys so much for watching. We've been the Cold Hard Truth NFL podcast, and we will see you guys next time.